Hey guys, Scott here, back with a new beer dissection video. What I have here, surprisingly, my wife said Target comes back with a surprise with me. Bought me another 4-pack of a brewery. God, I even forget. I just reviewed it a few hours ago, and a 12-pack from Bronx Brewery. Okay, which I live here on Long Island, New York, and the Bronx obviously is not very far from me, but I've never had beers from them. This is called World Gone Hazy IPA. It's part of a compilation pack. I'll probably put it, flashing over my face, over my shoulder, like I do many times. There's like everything from Gosa to Pilsner to IPA. I think, again, it's 3 or 4 beers. Do the math. Roughly, 3 of each. Okay. This one, and the picture that I have on there, they purposely have the label looking like it's a little blurry. So when the future stops being so clear and the skies above to start to swirl, look down on the clouds. It's their Hazy IPA at 7%, Bronx Brewery. Never had a beer from them, so I'm looking forward to seeing what this pack is. I may not do reviews on the entire pack, but we'll see. Okay. But that's pretty much it. Bronx, New York, that's one of the 5 boroughs in New York City for those that are not aware. And let's take a look at this one. I'm getting a lot of hazies recently. I'm probably have to go on a hazy IPA break here for a little while. So remember, with these hazies, a lot of times you're looking at, besides the copious amounts of hops, dry hopping, they'll use oats, wheat. You've heard me say this before if you follow me, sporadically even on this page, that creates some of that opaqueness in the beer. Okay, so this one, about an inch and a half, pretty white, dense foam, pretty nice looking. It's giving me that Cool Whip effect that I always like to see. That bubbles are pretty tight, almost like crema on the top of a espresso. All right, so let's take a sniff of the aroma. Okay, slightly dank, grapefruit, which is very typical. They don't say on the can what type of hops they're using, but citrus, grapefruit, pithy, maybe even a little bit of white grape also, which I get with Nelson Sauvin a lot. I don't know if that's what they're using, but that's what I'm perceiving at least. White grape, a little tropical fruit. If you want to say a little pineapple, that's pretty close too. The malt is kind of that white bread, wheat bread, floury, pretty neutral. Again, very classic for the style. Okay, but it smells pretty good, guys. Okay, typical hazy, juicy aromatics here. Okay, so let's cheers. Let's take a swig of this. Oh, a little colder than I like. Kind of thinner body than I expected. It's kind of like low to medium bodied. You get that. I'm even getting like slight grapefruit, a little pineapple, believe it or not. There is a little tropical fruit here. Malt is similar to what I had mentioned on the aromatics. White bread, flour. Not much residual sweetness either. So when you're trying to, simulate that juicy, grapefruit juice, orange juice, there's not much. It's actually drinking pretty dry, even for 7%, whatever it may be. Pretty thin. You don't get. And again, even though it's a juicy, hazy IPA, and the hop should be the forefather or the forerunner of the beer, I do like a little bit of malt, like sweetness, and this is drinking a little drier. But overall, not too bad. No warmth on the back end. Again, the body on it is very thin, so it kind of fades away very quickly. You're left with kind of that pithy grapefruit kind of taste on there, slightly dank. What's the date on this beer? They actually don't have a canning date on here, but Not that I'm picking up anything as far as off flavors for oxidation, and the color looks pretty good. I didn't really actually talk about it too much, but you kind of have that straw, light gold color opaqueness, almost like flour and water effect that we get with the beer. So again, sorry, I missed that on the front. I went right to the aromatics. But you kind of got that straw, maybe a light gold color. You can't see through it. Not, it's not translucent. There's obviously, but that's pretty standard for the style of beer. But overall, listen, lighter body. Sometimes you want a little more oomph to it, fullness to the body, but just my personal preference, especially many of the juicies, hazies I've gotten from Trillium, Treehouse, Equilibrium, and things like that. A little thinner body than typical. So anyway, today's beer dissection, guys. Bronx Brewery, World Gone Hazy IPA. I gotta say, the beer's, it's solid. I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this can. If you want a, slight grapefruit, pineapple, citrus, neutral malt kind of IPA. Again, remember, you go into West Coast IPAs, you get into crystal malts and things like that add a little bit more caramelization and toast to the malt backbone. This is pretty solid. Like I said, I give it a B. I just wish it had, the malt held up a little bit better, and I just think the body's a little thin. You want sometimes a little bit more chewiness to it with some of these hazy, juicy IPAs, but that's just my personal preference. But with that said, it is a solid beer, and I would definitely drink more of their beer and try it out. It's not like it's even though I sound critical on the beer, it's not like it's a bad beer. It's just that there's so many juicy hazies. The competition is fierce in this category, and I just think this one falls a little bit short on a lot of the other ones that are out there. But if I picked this up where I was visiting the Bronx and I was at the brewery, I'm sure they're producing fantastic beer. B is a good average, IPA, hazy IPA. It's not exceptional, but it's also not like I'm going to be dumping it down the sink either, like on some beers. It's not oxidized. It's actually quite fresh, considering it was picked up at a Target store, which is kind of funny. But anyway, guys, today's beer dissection, Bronx Brewery, World Gone Hazy IPA. Again, I give it a B, and that's pretty much it. So until next beer dissection video, have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.